Should I start geometry first before you go over your teamwork? On a load test, you can put it here. It's your choice. You don't have to. So if you go to terminal, or not necessarily have to do this way, but we can also run it from there. So what do you have under this? We have few folders, right? We're interested about Apache geometry.jar, right? So what is the command to run a Java application? Guys, what is the command, Mongbola? To run a Java application? What do you type here? We're not checking versions. We're running Apache Java Apache geometry. What is the command? Why to check to run a Java application? What command do you type? How do you load to JVM? We don't have to compile. It's already compiled. After you compile, what is the next step? Huh? No, you already compiled. Shh, shh. No, no test. After you compile, what do you call to load to JVM? I'm going to say, what do you call to run a Java application? Huh? Why CD to run a Java application? CD. So you're going to store, you're going to load to JVM. What is the command? Java C the compiler. It's already compiled. Guys, it's too bad. Okay. No, you should remember that. All right. So this is how you can run Java application. Fine, right? Java space dash jar, the name of the application. The application is Apache geometry.jar. It's already compiled, so I don't have to write Java C, but you have to load to JVM these compiled files. So we have to type Java loader. So Java, then jar, it's a jar file, and the name of the application. This is how we can launch JMeter. This is one way to do, going to the command line or terminal. Another way to do is, once you enter bin folder on the directory, right, and right-click the Java JMeter. Right-click or just double-click actually. Double-click on it, it will run. But we also want to run from terminal, or if we want to run. Okay, once you launch this JMeter, what is good for JMeter is good for? You can do load test, right? Performance test, stress test. You can also do, nowadays you do web service testing or API testing with JMeter. Right? You can do API testing with JMeter. Fine. So once you open this, you have this interface. All right, Apache JMeter. Fine. Go to file. I'll now go to test plan and right-click on add. Say thread groups. What thread groups? CNN thread groups. So running one user, ramp up in 1 second, and loop count forever if you were to run forever. That's not do forever, just to once. This is to run at a specific time. If you can schedule, if you want to schedule to run at a certain time, this is the date and time you enter. So let's not do that. We're going to run now. Right click on it and say add an HTTP request default, where you outline your server address. So www.cnn.com, right? /pat. Okay. And right click on it, add sample HTTP request, where you say politics. Okay, this is one request. So now you need some listener that will listen the results. So you have right click on add on the thread, add listener. Then you have many listeners to add. So maybe you can view them, view result 3 view, and view result in table. Summary reports. Graph results, so on. Let's run one first. So you can check the status of the call you made, just going to HTTP request. That request has been made, cnn.com/politics. But the response is, this is what response you get. If that's the case. But you usually run on staging or QA environment or dev environment, and then you scale from there. Now, even to practice now, let's not hit the server with 10, 100 or 10,000. Don't do that, please.
So the company will tell us that how many users that we can test? They will tell us? Or we
No. We have to come up with that how many users you want to accommodate for applications, right? If you're expecting at one time like 20,000, make sure your server can handle 20,000.
So I was told that use that new user.
Yeah, so you'll decide first how many users that application is expecting, and based on that you set up a server. See, you can talk to that DevOps or system engineer to set up the server for you, and you tell them how many user you want to generate, 5,000 or 10,000. So by default, the emitter doesn't come with a large set of RAM. By default, it comes 256 megabyte of RAM. So with that 256 megabyte of RAM, you won't be able to do large number of B user. B user means virtual user you want to generate. So maybe you can generate a couple of thousand, 2, 3, 4, 5 maybe. If you want to generate more loads, so you need to configure your emitter. So instead of 250 megabyte of RAM, you assign like 4 gigabyte of RAM. All you can do is have three different machines, right? So one is this, in Office you can have more machines, you can set up that, or they have in the cloud emitter called Blaze meter. So if you have a user that from Asia, right? So you want to generate load from Asia, not only from from North America or from Europe, but also for geographical reason you want to generate load from all over the world. In that case, either a company might have some data center in those regions, like Asia, If not, blaze meter. Blaze meter is another. So blaze meter is like more like source lab, for performance testing. So blaze meter they offer in different locations of the. Oh, they're too expired. So this is that they support JMeter. You can run on their in different location of their. Who are the client blaze meter? Look like Gap, NBC, Pfizer, many others. So resources they have. You can also set up Jenkins on their location. So BlazeMeter, if you really want to use it, their services for different part of the world, you can do that too. But this is how you generate loads, right? So if you want to say forever, 5 people, right? Forever means it's going to run forever. It's not going to stop at once only. And this is the response you get. You see this? This is the summary reports. It's crawling forever. You can scroll automatically, right? And with the result here, no fail so far. When you say forever, that 5 times 5, politics 5, wall 5, it's going to scroll forever. Keep doing it. Right? Got it? Got the point? So you can stop it now. And this is what you get the result. So some of them fail. Some of them fail. Socket closed. Well, is this because at the end it failed? Or does it fail in the middle? Let's see. Well, at the end, I think when you stopped it failed. So when you scroll forever, some of the thread might fail is because we are saying in 1 second ramp up. So you may run out of socket connections, or or the resources are blocked. Many reasons could happen. So if you imagine if you have 20,000 and doing forever, right? It means 20,000 are going fetching that resource constantly, and it might run out of your resources. So you might close that to particular thread. So that's how you can determine at what point your server are able to handle, how many users it can handle, and at what point it may start breaking that server. Those are the things the performance team is looking for. So your job is more like running test, and you can send that result, which is that's what you need a listener for. Once you run it, this is the result you need to provide. Like one of the reports, maybe summary reports, and these are graph reports, and there are many other listeners that you can add. These are the listeners you can add. There's some plugins beside this listener. There are more listeners you can add. More results you can add. More reporting tool can add. And this for team purpose. Once you run it, make sure you add some listener and generate reports and pass it to the team. And they'll decide, okay, what adjustment they have to make. Again, this is most of the company, they have dedicated team for performance testing. So they use either load runner or they use JMeter. So your job is more, your skill is more into functional tester, right? But it's good to know also performance testing, so you can put it in the resume, and also if there's opportunity, some company they They don't have different team. So you are mostly doing functional, but part of it you're doing maybe 20%, 10% doing performance testing. So it's good to know a tool that can do the job for you. Okay? Questions? Aman?
Something that I want to build to a brand. I think I would really want you to do this, and I will support you.
Aman, hear you.
Maybe.
Aman, fix your mic.
Unmuted.
Paul? Guys?
Muted.
Stop. You're not talking. Sorry. Okay, any other questions? So to send a report out, usually you have option to store this in your local. You can restore this. There is Excel file options. See file name and browse. You can store onto your local machine. If it's data, right? All the this is tables, right? This, for example, this table, right? You can store in Excel file and you can share that. You can do that. You can store it in a local machine and share that. If not, there will be some plugin that you can use to share the reports. We have to look for some plugin if there is one. If not, just I would say just maybe have a snapshot, right, of this, and share that snapshot. Okay. So again, this is not the main skills or resource that you will be selling when you try to get a job. More is your functional tester skills. This is just additional skills that you're having, on your profile. For JMeter, the books, there is one book in Amazon you can buy, but the website of JMeter is a good resource, I would say. I read the book a few years back. I don't know if the current books have better things to write. The previous book I read is more about. They took a lot of things from here, which is JMeter Apache website. So if you get start reading it, this gives a lot of idea about JMeter. So if you don't want to buy the book, it's pretty much resources are here. Okay. User manual. So user manual of this JMeter give you a lot of resources, and the book is based on actually the user manual. Okay, this is helpful if you just start using user manual. Any other questions, guys? Okay, so this could be part of the, guys, simply download this and run few tests. Again, do not run more than 10, 20 to their people server that you don't own the server. And everyone doing it, then it's a problem. Just do 5, 10, max 20 maybe. All right, so the next thing we want to discuss, of course, you'll be now working on the framework, right? All the feedbacks I give you, please fix those features or that you can improve, reflect a lot of ideas. Now add more test cases, and then make sure run from Jenkins, run in browser stack or SoftLab, right? And take a screenshot and we'll see what else you can add maybe tomorrow or next week. But make sure you fix those first that I mentioned. Now, Bilal went over yesterday, probably. How many people joined yesterday? Huh? How many people joined yesterday? Thursday was about the frameworks, Selenium browser automation. Yesterday was more setting up environment for mobile automation. So if you didn't join, you're responsible to set up your environment. That was the plan, that we want to learn how you can do mobile automation. So you can do the setup first. Aman.
Mavi Bhai, I'm sorry, I forgot what I was going to ask. I had it in my head. I should have wrote it down. I'm sorry. If I come back, I'll remember.
Okay. That was the question? Okay. Fine. Later on. So mobile testing. It's important area, guys, as a functional tester, that you can look for some opportunity in this area. Right? We have iOS, Android. Of course, Windows Phone is not part of automation process yet for Appium, but Windows Phone is also picking up a little bit. But main focus is this. So everything is now, or many applications is now on iOS devices and Android devices, either iPhone or iPad, or Nexus 4, Nexus 7, or any Android devices. So nowadays, the company, they have to support the application into these devices. That's why mobile automation is becoming essential for Agile team. So there are many tools out there in the market for mobile automation. Appium is one of the popular ones. Okay, so Appium is a single solution for both platforms. You can run in any language, C# and Python or Java and many others. As long as you have the same workflow, and if it's the same locators, then you can use one script to drive both. But most of the company, the problem is iOS team works separately, or Android team works separately, so they don't have much communication going on. Even they don't follow that guideline that you should do single locators for both platforms. If it's a two different platforms, then we have to deal with that. But if the workflow is same, we can write single script to do that. Just the idea to have using tool like Appium. Besides Appium, there is some tools like Robotium or simply for Android, or iOS specific one simply for iOS, right? But Appium is a solution for both. So of course, those Appium use that automation for Android and automation for iOS. So they use their APIs. So Appium use those API to interact with Android platform, to interact with iOS platform. Now, Appium can work with real device, or it can work with simulator for iOS or emulator for Android. So you can take a look. Okay, so this is the Appium look like. Okay, so now you write some script. You can directly talk to the Android or iOS, but you talk to first Appium. And Appium can talk to either Android or iOS platform. So this is how the architecture look like for Appium, how it interact with its devices, and the tool, how the tool works. This is a good one too. Okay, so doesn't matter what script you write, either C# or Java, but Appium will talk to that app. It will take that your script, and whatever the feature you want to automate that, use their API for iOS, or if it's Android, then you can talk to that app. So in order to do more automation, the challenging part is not the Appium API, but the setting up the iOS and Android environment. So for iOS, the developer use Xcode, right? So iOS developer use Xcode to build the iOS applications. And Android developer use Android SDK to build Android applications. So Xcode you can write in Objective-C or in Swift. Or Swift. Right? This is how Xcode is written. This is how you can write application to build iOS. And this is in Java. So Android can be mostly Android built in Java. iOS owned by Apple, Android owned by Google. You already know that. So to configure Android SDK and to configure not much to configure Xcode, but once you download Xcode, it's there, then we can point to. But configuration of Android, you can do best profile, set up that Android SDK. So these two things you need to download. So now in order to machine compatibility issue is, you won't be able to do Xcode in Windows. You need Mac machine to run Xcode. Android is supported by both. Android is supported on SDK in any Windows phone. I'm sorry, any Windows machine or in Mac. So, but if you need to do both iOS and Android, you need Mac machine. Okay. So it's 113, 114. You guys want to go to break? All right. Yeah, you guys are hungry for food, but not hungry for materials, right? It's fine. All right, so we'll be back. Yes? Okay, fine. I have no echo what's going on. Okay. So now, once you configure, so yesterday Bilal went over Android and Xcode configuration. If you didn't join yesterday, then it's a problem. You should have joined yesterday. So Xcode takes some time to, depend on the internet speed you have, it might take half an hour or 1 hour, depend the internet speed. So you need to have Xcode installed on your machine. And then second one is you need to have installed SDK of Android. So to write code, our automation script for mobile automation, we can use IntelliJ, all right? Or you can also use Android Studio. Okay, but let's say we're going to use IntelliJ. I already have one framework from previous. We'll just load it. All right, so git clone, and let's move it from where is that? Okay, so let's open IntelliJ. All right, so we have the Venus, the name of the framework, the repository, and here, well, this stuff need to be updated, which was simply withdrawal. So same way we did for the browser setup. Let's go quickly on here, which is paint. So the setup framework should be so what we have we'll have generic, and in generic where pretty much you have launching that app, what version of app we are launching, what device we are using, is it simulator or emulator, all this configuration can be done in generic. And that is also part of all the API, common or base API is going to be generic. And then we can download, we can add launch app with our Android or iOS. So this would be Android application, or this could be iOS applications. So generic is applied for both platforms. So now when you talk about Android, you could have not only one application, but as many applications as you need. Okay. So you can have as many applications as you want to automate. So not only you can just do two separate iOS and Android, but also you can, if you don't want to do that, simply go by application, right? And within that application, one could be Android, one could be iOS. So now, the way we set up here is two different test cases for, one is for Android and one for iOS. This is because we have two different applications. One is Snapchat, another one is UI catalog. But when you work for one applications, we can have only one test cases for both. We'll also see how it's possible. So generic is where you have all the dependencies you're managing by root form, right? So we have root form. You have to manage all the dependencies. So what are dependencies for? You still need database connection if you want to, MongoDB or MySQL. Still you need, of course, Maven is managing it. Still you need Excel file reader, right? So beside the browser specific issue, browser specific data or setup, everything else you need it. Even though it's an app, right? App do need to get data from, right, to sign up or restriction data, that it can come from Excel file or database. TestNG must, because this TestNG is helping to launch your, run your test or verify your test cases. So TestNG is must needed. This is the setup. We learn how to set up is done for browser automation. Pretty much similar concept we can apply for mobile automation. Okay. Snapchat, yes. Well, we're not doing that much activities there. Simply log into that Snapchat. So what you need is Xcode, right? So we have the Xcode here. After you download Xcode, you could have on the application folder. Now, the current version of Xcode is 8.2.1. I have different versions. It's because I have the old app running and I wanted to support. That's why I have different versions. One version is fine. You could use 8.0 or 8.2.1. So once you have Xcode, install, and it takes place in the application folder, and you see that the Xcode is there. So you can open Xcode if you want, but you don't have to now. So if you open it, and you get familiar with Xcode. And then for Android SDK, if you download Android Studio, where is Android Studio? I know I have it somewhere. Oh, I have to look for it, Android Studio. Okay, right here. So if we open the Android Studio, without downloading Android Studio, still you can manage your SDK simply downloading SDK. Okay. So now Studio have an interface to manage this. So if you go Tools, go to Android, and this is how you can go to the SDK manager. This is one way to do. Another way is to the terminal simply and say Android. Right? If you go to terminal, if you set up this properly, then the SDK manager opens up. And in the manager, you can cancel that. So in the manager, you can download whatever API you needed in order to automate your Android applications. So the way to manage your SDK is just come here and look for the items it's installed, what is not installed. So we are supporting our API up to API 25, and it's not installed. So probably it can support up to 7. So it looks like it's supported up to 6.0. If you want to automate an application of Android 7 and 7.1, you need to get those APIs. So select those. Once you select those, you can say install those packages and accept license agreement, right? Right? Then install that. This is how you can manage your SDK manager. So what API you need to install, what is not installed yet, right? You can use the manager to do that. Android SDK manager. So once you install on your machine, just simply type Android from your terminal. It will, open that manager to manage. This is one way to do. Another way to do is go to Android SDK, Android Studio, go to Tools, then go to Android, and go to SDK Manager. That way also you can open your SDK Manager and manage the SDK. This is one feature of Android Studio, or go to Terminal to do that. Another one is AVD Manager. What is AVD? Android Virtual Device. So it's called emulator for Android, which is not real device. So they try to mimic that device into your machine. So without testing real device, developers do need that environment in order to run, build applications. They want to quickly run on the emulator before you go to real device. You have to run it and see the test work or not, or app is whatever the features they're building is testable or not. So they quickly test on emulator, which is like simulation process, simulated device into your machine. That's called virtual device, or they call Android Virtual Device Manager. That manage all the emulator you have. So how do you make emulator? Based on the configuration you need. You say, okay, I need Android 6 API version, and with that configuration, you can build the emulator based on what you need. So you can go to AVD Manager from here, or if you go to Terminal. So down another terminal. Right? Say AVD or Android AVD. So Android AVD device, if you type, then it will bring that AVD Manager, Android Virtual Device Manager. So here you can see that few devices running. So in the backend, SDK Manager is running, installing whatever you need to install, that keep it running. But meanwhile, you can keep working on other things, which is virtual devices. So those two devices that I configured before, we can run it. Or if you want to have a new one, you can say create, and you say AVD name, the device name, device type, targets, keyboard, and so on. This is what the option you have. If you want to work existing device, like Nexus 5. So Nexus 5, you can edit that. So I'm saying, let's create a one virtual device using Nexus 5 configurations. So device, Nexus 5, and the target API level 21, which is 5.1, right? CPU 86, no skin, front camera, back camera none, RAM 2048, virtual memory heap 64, so on. Once you do this, then hit OK. But if you don't want to change, hit cancel. So now Nexus 5 emulator configuration is ready. Now it can start it by hit the button start here and say launch. So now we're launching that Nexus 5 emulator on your machine. So Nexus 5 is pretty much almost ready. Come on. Do you remember your thoughts?
Yeah. Well, I don't want to ask that question. Mavi Bhai, how do I open the Android AVD? I put into the terminal, and I typed in Android AVD, and it said command not found.
It's not found because you didn't set up that. Did you join yesterday, the last class?
The mentoring class?
Yes.
No, yesterday's no. I only joined once this week.
Yes, you should have. So those questions will be resolved by now. Anyway, what you have to do from terminal to execute this command, you have to set up Android into bash profile. You remember how to do bash profile in Mac? So
Yep.
I'll give you that link. You can follow that, or Bilal, if you have one, you can share also. So follow that steps. Not now, right now, just follow what I do. So
Okay.
once you leave the session, please work on it. But now, just follow. Okay.
Okay.
We'll share the link and everything else. Thank you.
Oh, okay, cool.
Let's just watch for now, everyone. So we have Nexus 5 emulator ready. So now you can run your any app into this Nexus 5, right? Okay. To launch various way, one is let's go to. You can minimize this manager. In the meanwhile, see this HT command is still running. Okay, so let's put the Appium. Where's the Appium? Okay, this is a tool that helping us to talk to the devices and to launch app. So it's a 5.3, 1.5.3. So now to launch the Android app, we have to select the Android. So we select the Android. Fine. In the setup, you need the Node and other visits written in Node. We'll discuss that too, but let's run it simply. So Android, we have to go where the Android application is. So you want to launch Snapchat. Go to people and tag, DNS, and under Android we have source app Snapchat. All right. So we're going to launch. So we're going to launch that into the emulator, the Snapchat applications. Launch it. And inspect the elements. Hit that button. Why is going to google.com? Oh, it's probably for location. Okay. So now Snapchat is loaded on the emulator, right? And it's a sign in and sign up, login and sign up page on Snapchat. So, in order to, so what is this window for? This is, we know this is the app loaded, instead of real device, it's loaded in the emulator. Fine. How about this window for? This is the window for inspect elements. Remember in the browser side we did in the Firefox with the Firefox to inspect the elements, web elements. So same way we need also inspect the elements in the app, in the mobile app, right? So the Appium provide this called Appium inspector. So with this inspector we can inspect the elements and say, okay, if you want to log in, hit the button and sign up. How do you know how to log in or how to sign up? What information do you need for that? Okay, now we are here. Okay, so this is sign up, right? You can see that sign up is pointing to. So for sign up, this is the text, this is the type, this is what they have XPath. You can get this XPath. You don't need long XPath. It could be shorter XPath. If you take the last two, that will find two. XPath equals this, Android widget, linear layout, and the buttons. If you click on that, get this XPath is fine instead of taking the long XPath. So we have the XPath. If the name, ID, or anything else available, you can use that. If not available, we have this XPath. So if you want to click on sign up, you can get this XPath and say, okay, click on XPath of this Android Snapchat application. So to click on login, so when you go back, click on login, and the border is kind of, it's a pink, that's why you don't see, but it is highlighting actually. So for login button, this is the XPath you can grab and click on this login button. So sometimes in the inspector, you don't have the current page as your device does. In that case, you can refresh the button to see whatever you are on the page that will update in the inspector window. That refresh button for. So right now you can select your login or sign up buttons XPath, and you can pass this to your script. Say find by elements by.xpath, and click on the sign up or click on login. Once you have Snapchat authentication, you can do that. So how we did that? So now we stop it, right? Here we said where the path is for the application. So you need the application itself. So Snapchat.apk, right? APK is when you build the Android, it produces the .apk file. When you find the Snapchat or whatever the Android application is ready to ship to the user, they usually build in Jenkins and they put it in the App Store, right? So Snapchat.apk or New York Times.apk or Facebook.apk, so on, if it's for Android applications. If it's iOS application, it will be .app or .app to run our, you can make on your own, make a zip folder, so app.zip or zip.app for iOS application. So once you may say, okay, I have a Snapchat application where? So I have a Snapchat application here under our repository, under Android directory, under source, under app. I have the Snapchat.apk. I also have WhatsApp.apk. If you want to select one of them, we said, okay, go for Snapchat. So this is how we are pointing from Appium to this repository and the source and the app. And we are pointing to this APK. For iOS, we also have same way. Under iOS source, under app, we have iOS direct iOS app is called uicatalog.app.zip. So once you point this to for Android application, then you can say launch, right? This is how it launch Snapchat on an emulator device. Emulator, which is mimic of Android device.
How does it know which emulator to pick up?
Well, here we're saying that actually.
In the settings or?
Yes, right here. We are saying launch every day Nexus 5.
Okay.
We check from that. If we don't check from that, it's going to look for real device. Do you have real device? No, that's what it's complaining. That's what it's failing for. Okay, so I have a real device. We can run it. Let's grab it. So let's connect a USB drive. Or you can do also by IP address on the phone if you don't have a USB. So your Android don't have to have that Snapchat. All you need is just make sure your Android device is, you allow developer options. From developer options, you allow debug by a machine, which is this laptop is going to connect. So right now we don't have Snapchat on this machine, on this phone, and it's a real device, right? And it will try to launch a real device. Let's close that virtual device for now, right?
So Mafi Bhai, you have your phone, your Android phone connected.
Yes. So let's kill this now. So it's on the phone now, right? Let's close this one. Come on, stop the emulator. Alright, so that is stopped. Now what you see, this is from a real device actually. So I'm going to click on login on my device, and I have the login prompt. So I have to refresh in order to see the updated page on the app. So this is the updated page, right? Login, username, password, right? So we're going to grab that XPath of username and XPath of password. Once you do, then it says click on it, authenticate that will log into the Snapchat. Okay? So this is a real device you're connecting with. So connect a real device from Appium. We saw that is simply don't say launch AVD. Without AVD, to run a real device, leave this blank. Okay. So every time you restart, it's going to kill the browser, kill the app on your phone, and it will relaunch that. All right. Every time you change, you refresh it, right? But if you want to if you don't want to just tap on the real device, but you want to tap within this, you can do that too. So you click on this sign up, it will give you that XPath. You can log in, give you that XPath. Anyone have Snapchat account? You want to share? Okay. All right. So this is how you can interact with the app and get these locators. And once you get the locators, you can, you can automate those features. Any questions on this?
Do I need to download any app in my Android? Just connect. Do I need to download any app?
Yes. One second. Okay, so running there. Fine. Any questions on this? Okay. You just give me 1 minute. I'll put the meter on the back. It's annoying every Saturday. I'll do that, guys. So meanwhile, guys, do one thing. Just grab from the winner. So this is the link. So I sent on the webinar the GitHub link for the repository. So in the repository we have 2 apps. One is UI Catalog, and another one is Snapchat. You can get it from there. Thank you. So just clone the repository for now.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, that's what you do.
Plug into your workspace. But I mean, you can set that up later and just get the. That's what I said. Get phone and what's your name? No where to go. No where to go. It gets plugged into the directory where which directory.
I wanted to see.
Oh yeah, but it's the same as the other thing, but the type of file is different. It's different. Oh, I get all this one. Oh, sorry. Oh, no, you do file environment. That's the same thing. Wait, it's one after elevation. It's not supposed to be after elevation.
Yeah, nice. I got it.
I'm talking about the project name. Yes, it's not after elevation.
Guys, I got it.
Venus, I put the name for today. Oh, I just said that. Oh, okay, that's.
Oh, it's wrong.
You renamed it. You renamed it.
I don't know. If they keep the stars Oh, and somebody
You got this one?
What's that?
Oh, you got this one?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's supposed to be like that. Wait, no, it's not supposed to be like that. No. Yeah, it's not
Someone
supposed
might
to be.
introduce me. Which one?
What's the number?
The one
So you did the same project, right? I mean,
I get project, I get
that's
project.
the SDK environment. That's one that you're seeing because that would be used for what is there?
Yeah, I get the same actually.
Slash chapters for an accident. That's what accidental word. Now you can use. You know what it's called? You know what we. What happened? That's next door. He can't open the APK file because it doesn't have SDK anymore. So I can. APK. No, I can open the. There's no code. Oh, yeah, it's supposed to be code. Oh, no, it's not supposed to be code.
I don't know what happened.
Go check in the the root farm. That's into IO.API. I don't know. I don't know. I know. Laptop. Every know. I'm trying to look at the file. Well, you can't. What do you think? Good shit. No. It's not guy, man. What was it, actually? His laptop, I saved it like that. I'm like, wait a minute. It's stupid towards your actually, you're probably stepping on it.
Our computer is all the way
Like,
up.
you're-
Yeah, that's all I like. That's what I'm
what?
That's scary.
What are you scared of?
I mean,
It's not like a ball. It's just not.
that's a puzzle number.
At least it's like a question. At least. He's gonna lose his life, man. Like, you're just talking about it.
Oh, I'm just a marker.
Just like a question. Small.
Text edits, search bar, text view, picker, images, wave, toolbar, alerts, conditions, so on. So if you click all of those, you can get the expert of this or the name of this. Right? You can click by name, click by expert, so you can select all those items and click on or tap on it, whatever feature you want to tap. Right? So once, let's say we go picker, right, and hit tab. So what it does, it goes to that picker will where you can select some of the items. Right? You can select that and so on. So you go back and you click on search bar, you're in the search bar now. Refresh it to see. The back buttons, you see the update. With the toolbar, refresh. You get the toolbar here, and if you want to do any activities in the toolbar, right? One of them. You can do that, right? So this is how you can interact with the elements. It's in the inspector elements. It's called Auto Inspector that you can use to find the elements. So once you grab the elements for all the elements, all the items you need, and then you can interact. Then you can write some script, right? So right here, this is for Android. This is for iOS app. Source. So what we are doing is get all the elements in the UI, store into error list, and then click one by one items. So let's run iOS 1. Okay. To run iOS, to the source, analog, and we're running this iPhone homepage. So you're saying if it's an iOS, go for iOS, right? This is how you shopping here. If it's not a real device, simulator, let's run the simulator. And load the UI catalog app on this iPhone simulator, iPhone 6 simulator. It's running. It's talking to the Appium, right? Appium can talk to the device. So it's going to throw error, looks like. Why it went wrong. It's going to run a session right here. Something went wrong with that. UI catalog 6.1.app. Just the right one. Yes. So, this is why it didn't work. iPhone 6, iPhone Punch. One more time. Now throwing error. So you see why it's failing. The available levers were this. Okay, I see. I think it's a problem on the thing at 6. It's version compatibility issue. 8.1, but 9.3. Okay, let's try 9.3. Okay, so session is created, look like, and should, okay, we hit the point. At this point, when you click on that, all the items, okay, it did text field, right? Sleep for a second, then type all the text field. Architecture, right? You sleep for a second and do nothing, right? There you go. How about if you run the other one? Any questions up to this point? Just too brief, but we'll spend some time tomorrow also on more information. But what I want tonight is, if you already have Mac, please do setup. Bilal, if you want to spend some time after the class end, maybe a few hours, if you guys want to do, fine. If not, you can do it Monday. But tomorrow we'll go over a few more things, and just, well, whatever we need to we can review on this. Prepare some questions for tomorrow. And if you want to set up your Mac or Windows, to try to do it tonight. All right, so you're going to click on that. So how many elements you got? 0, 2, 0. What's wrong? Nothing. Well, yeah, that's basically it. Okay, now it's 12 elements, right? Why is 12? Because from buttons to, there is 12 items, right? So this is what you're getting, all the items in the extraordinary list. Then you click one by one, and you hit the back buttons, right? Hit the back buttons, click for 1 second, go back, hit the controls, so on. So keep running. Okay? Make it bigger. Oh. Make it smaller. Just focus on this only. Right? Green. Any questions before I go? Today we're going to finish early because we have job seminar and we have some honorable guests are here. So you can stay until 7, 4 to 7. Yeah. If not, just I'll see you guys tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks. All right, guys. I'll see you tomorrow then. We have to wrap up now. So, Bilal, please help them out. Aman, if you need help with the setup of Mac, please reach out to Bilal. Thank you. I'll see you guys tomorrow.
Unmuted.
All right. All right, so I'll see you guys tomorrow. Thank you. That's all for today. How do you like more automation?
I like more.
Yeah?
I like it better.
Okay, good.
I like it better.
More money.
What?
You guys like more.
Oh yeah, actually it's very interesting.
So, if you automate your Facebook on the mobile, right? You can keep sending messages to your friends. Keep them up all night.